Ida ida the home kala hai. Ida the home ere wa hu ham ken nu the home ha hai ngu wa. Mà le. Ida tiếng ai u sa.
I am Lupong, the great Ang of Shangnu. Since ancient days, my ancestors had been the most powerful chiefs of the Konyak villages, and we face the world as united communities. In our veins run the sacred blood of chiefs, pure and undiluted. My house, which has always been the most prominent feature of a Konyak village, was rebuilt only a couple of years ago. Due to functional reasons, I have made it smaller. I live here with my 3 secondary wives and children. I remember the old house of my grandfather. It had 27 smaller posts supporting the main central post. That house was massive and sheltered the entire family of the great royal Ang of Shangnu. My late principal wife, the great Anya of Shangnu, is from the royal house of Shanga Qingnu. She is now resting in peace. Outside my house is the ancient site of rituals. Our ancestors performed rituals here for better harvest, or when heads were brought in as trophies from war. My village, Shangnu, has the most beautiful landscape, and we have plenty of date palms and bamboo groves that line the village paths. I am a crazy old man now, and I feel my days are numbered. After me, my son Ato is likely to take over as the great chief of Shangnu, but only if the elders of Shangnu village and other villages under our jurisdiction decide to appoint him. Public support matters. Though he is not my eldest son, he is proving himself to be more able than his elder brother. 2001 has been the most significant year of my life because my son Ato has carved a huge log drum in my honor. Every century, a huge log drum is dragged out of the forest and carved for the great Ang. Log drums play a very significant role in a Konyak village life. It is an ancient means of communication, as well as an instrument of entertainment. Each and every beat of this drum means to send out messages to other villages and even to announce the arrival of a royal birth in the household. My son Ato has organized the pulling of this log drum from the forest below the village. It took 100 men to pull it all the way to the village. I watched every moment of it with joy and pride in my heart. Shangnu was once an independent circle in Lower Konyak area ruled by my family. It has 14 satellite villages paying tribute. These villages come from the politically created states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and from even across the international border in Myanmar. I am deeply pained at the partition of Shangnu villages. Every subjugated village had come prepared for feast during this period of log drum pulling ceremony. Though they were very cooperative, yet I felt sad that things are not the same anymore. My heart overwhelms me when I look at this piece lying here now. It reminds me what it is to be a great Ang. believe we have a treasure in Shangnu. The Northeast Zone Cultural Center has shifted it from my house to this newly constructed building. The Department of Art and Culture of the Government of Nagaland is at present looking after it. It is the Pan Kano, or the wooden carving made by celestial beings, which is as old as the village. It is 18 feet long, 14 feet wide, and more than 2 feet thick. This awesome piece has carvings of human and animal figures on both sides. This carving is believed to have been carved out by mystical hands of the twin sons of the then Ang Panpoi, who was very powerful. The twins were born by one of his secondary wives, who was accused of lying and cheating and was executed. She was thrown over the cliff to die. Even the wife of a ruling house caught in adultery can be killed this way. Such drastic action involves the risk of war with her natal village, whose chief would try to avenge his daughter's death. We identify ourselves with this piece of carving, Pan Kano. It relates to our animus days, our dreams and desires to live beyond ourselves, to procreate and not perish. This iron cannon was given long ago by the Ahom king. He had once invited the great chief of Shangnu, his daughter and son, to visit him under safe conduct. They came, and the Ahom king proceeded to behead the Ang, and by the way of a little sport, orders the son to violate the sister in public. The son refused and was told the alternative was death. He refused again, but the sister persuaded him to do it to save his life. Later, they were let off. They went back to the village, where the girl hanged herself to avenge the treatment of their Ang and his family. The people of Shangnu then started to make war on the plains and did it so effectively that the Ahom king sent for peace and gave the Shangnu Ang an iron cannon as a peace offering. Tomorrow is festival time, and the whole community will not be working in the fields, but will feast and dance for a week. During Aoling, the spring festival, sacred prayers are uttered by men to bring about fertility of fields. The fertility of a field and man are closely linked in the mind of a Konyak. They are the different expression of the same force. The prosperity of the village depends on its abundance. I, Lupong, the Ang of Shangnu, the spirit of my great ancestors, beckons me to go on. I sing the age-old song. O Gawong, Lord of Heaven, give that our fields may be fruitful. Give us rice in plenty, give us millet in plenty. The people of the village, let them be strong. Our children, let them be strong.
In the very northeastern corner of India, at the edge of Nagaland, lies Longwa, a small Konyak village. Once upon a time it was a powerful independent circle, with villages under it, ruled by great chiefs. The great Anghs were the undisputed heads of the villages, and their word was law. They were believed to have divine origin, being descendants of the sky god Gawang, and thus had a royal elevated status. It is said that when the Konyak people first cracked open the gourd-like fruit called Mai Koak, they found two men inside. One of them was wearing blue beads around his calves, and he was chosen as the one to rule over them. Life here at Longwa goes on as centuries before. The daily routine continues to be the same for those of us who still reside in the village, except for a few who have gone beyond the boundaries of this village, seeking for the progressive changes taking place outside. We still make our own implements, baskets and mats, and farm in the same traditional way. Slash and burn is still the method for cultivating rice, taro and millets. The household chores of the women, like fetching water, collecting firewood and pounding rice, have remained unchanged. The international border between India and Myanmar runs right through the great Anghs house and the village. Longwa has all its satellite villages in Myanmar, except for one village which is in Nagaland. Today it stands divided between two nations. This is the land where great royal chiefs, smaller chiefs and commoners built a society that has withstood time for generations. I am Tonye, the son of the great chief of the Angh of Longwa. I will succeed my father as the great Angh. I was studying in Tongching, but I had to leave my education early as there were matters that needed the attention of the chief Angh, which my father was oblivious to. My status as a royal does not matter to anyone as far as our daily life is concerned. I am an aristocrat and they are commoners, but we mingle freely. We do not possess anything better in terms of possessions, furniture or clothing, except that we have more control in terms of land ownership and the labor force. My uncle is the village council chairman and my cousin brother is the students' union leader. The administration of the village today is still in the hands of the Angh clan. Even under the changed political conditions, villagers are still loyal in recognizing the great Anghs as men having the purest aristocratic blood. We, the family of the great Angh, rarely do manual work. My father stays at home and receives tributes, though it is just nominal. Men of Angh class, however, are free to take secondary wives from their own villages, but they consider such wives as domestic help only. The children of my father's secondary wives are considered smaller Anghs. They rarely inherit any part of my father's property. They are allocated land for cultivation during their lifetime, but this they cannot pass on to their children. They should in their lifetime be able to acquire property of their own. My first wife is from the commoner clan, so I had to take a principal wife from a royal lineage to retain the undiluted blood of the great Anghs. She comes from Arunachal Pradesh, from the chiefly house of Kongnu. I lost my daughter and my two younger sisters in an epidemic that swept the village recently. They're buried here in the traditional Konyak way by building a small shelter along with their personal belongings. My father has now one principal wife and 4 secondary wives or concubines living with him. My mother comes from the royal house of Shangnu. I am qualified to be the great Ang in future. Only a few can boast of such a spotless genealogy like mine, because men of the great Ang class take their principal wives only from the royal houses of other villages. Wives often have to be sought in distant villages, and never in villages founded by men of the same dynasty. The administration of the village today is still in the hands of the Ang clan. Even under the changed political conditions, villagers are still loyal in recognizing the great Anghs as men having the purest aristocratic blood. Some people think we are outdated chiefs, but when it comes to day-to-day affairs and also regarding developmental matters, the great Ang has a lot to say. Sometimes there are quarrels between rival Ang lineages, or between two Ang sons for the succession of the position of the Ang. This has often led to the diminution of an Ang's power in the past. My father, the great Ang of Longwa, has not been up to himself for a long time now. He has taken to opium, a common thing to do in the village. In fact, almost all the villagers are habituated to it. My younger brothers are to be deputed to the villages under Longwa. My brother is studying in Myanmar, and he's here now for the Konyak Spring Festival Owling. He is studying in a Burmese school so that he will be able to look after the villages once he is deputed there as the son of the great Ang of Longwa. He comes only once a year, as it is always a difficult journey to travel on foot for days. My sister is 8 years old, and she will be the wife of a great chief of another village, like my mother and my wife, from the royal houses of other villages. It is time for Owling, our most important festival. Everybody is excited about it, and the entire village community is involved in presenting dances and songs. Our representatives from our villages in the Myanmar side have also arrived for the function, and also to participate in the Spring Festival. Some of them are taking part in the dance. Minister of Nagaland for Rural Employment and Poverty Alleviation, Mr. Kongam, arriving with his officials. It's a big event as far as our village is concerned, and a lot of tourists and TV crews are here to witness the festival celebration. Mr. Kongham, the minister, hails from our village, and he's a powerful man. He is hosting the feast and also sponsoring the show. Even another Konyak MLA has come all the way from Arunachal Pradesh to join us in our festivities. During this spring festival, Owling, we murmur secret prayers while we flash our bows and shout loud songs lest any woman or any of the children should hear the words. For as a woman embraces her lover, so may the earth take seeds of rice into her womb. It is only during feasts and ceremonies that Gawang is invoked. Konyaks have a realistic philosophy of life, that Gawang, the god of the heavens, does not wait to judge earthly offenders till their death. Gawang sees and hears everything. Compared to him, other spirits of the earth, wood, and the rivers are not important. Gawang created man and also the earth, and we are all his children. When we are rich or poor, it is Gawang who gives us what he wills, and he holds the power of life and death in his hands. When lightning flashes across the sky and thunder resounds behind mountains, we know who is behind all these events.
Hey!